I am Dr. Mildred Muhammad, an award-winning global keynote speaker, domestic abuse survivor, certified domestic violence advocate.
Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Portia Monique, and today I'll be your host. And as this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we're honored to sit down with Dr. Mildred Muhammad, survivor, advocate, and the courageous ex wife of the DC sniper. In the gripping new documentary, Hunted by My Husband, the untold story of the DC sniper, she reclaims her voice and shines a light on the invisible scars of emotional and psychological abuse, turning her trauma into a powerful mission to help others survive and heal. Welcome to the show, Dr. Muhammad.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, this documentary places your story, not your ex husband's, at the center for the first time.
Absolutely.
How did it feel to finally reclaim your narrative and share your truth on your own terms?
It felt amazing because for so long I felt that everyone was trying to erase myself and my children and everything that we went through prior to his arrival in this area.
Now, the title itself, Hunted by My Husband, is definitely haunting. What went through your mind the moment you realized that the man you once loved was intentionally hunting you down?
The prosecutor and law enforcement stated that the theory behind him coming here was to create a diversion, to kill innocent people, to cover up my murder so that he could come in as the grieving father and gain custody of our children. At that time, they were also giving $100,000 to the victims of the sniper. So he would have been able to retrieve those funds and get the children and leave.
That was something that wasn't present in the documentary. So that is news to me as well in terms of the $100,000 that he would have collected too. How did you process that realization emotionally and spiritually?
That I was a target?
That he was using it as a smokescreen to cover his intent to kill you.
John told me earlier that you have become my enemy, and as my enemy, I will kill you. I was in hiding for 2 years before this even started. He had already taken the children into the bank accounts, trying to kill me. I knew it was going to be a headshot because he said, one shot, one kill to the head, never leave an enemy behind. So he already told me that. I already know if he kills me, he's going to bury me somewhere where no one would be able to find me. The problem was I didn't have physical scars and nobody believed me.
Mm-hmm. And I definitely want to address the abuse of it. But one last question on your story and the documentary. We see not only tragedy, but triumph as well. And so, what was the hardest part of reliving this story on camera, and what gave you the strength to do it?
So I've been sharing my story for the last 20 years. I am completely healed from every emotion that could possibly come up. I've been asked just about every question that there is to ask. And so when I speak about my story, I'm actually energized because I know that after telling my story, somebody is going to hear it. Somebody is going to look at their lives and say, you know what? I can do this. I can leave. Let me go through this process. Let me be strategic in how I leave. Let me move in silence. Let me make sure that I have everything that I need to live my life in a different area of the
Mhm.
state or of the country so that me and my children or me alone can be productive.
Yeah, and you just recently said that you didn't have any physical scars, right? You said I'm a survivor who bears no physical scars. Can you talk about the unseen side of domestic violence, the psychological and the emotional abuse, and why those wounds can be just as devastating?
Well, we know that every 9 to 15 seconds a woman is abused, but we don't talk about the 1 to 8 seconds that's there before the 9 to 15. It's not that an abuser comes in and just automatically hits you. What happens is they have to lower your guard. And it starts with a verbal assault. It is what I say and it's how you interpret what I say. Then it goes to economic, psychological, spiritual, because sometimes they like to use scripture to keep you in check, and stalking and strangulation. That's a physical. But the 1 to 8 seconds are unfortunately abuses that does not raise to the level for law enforcement to get involved. So at that point, you're really on your own. You have to use discernment as you move forward in how you're going to respond to the abuser, because I don't have to attend every fight that I'm invited to. I don't have to talk to you and tell you how I'm feeling, because all you're going to do is use it against me, and you're going to make sure that my self-esteem is done. I'm going to question, what did I do for you to behave this way when actually you haven't done anything?
Yeah.
That's just them wanting to control you and to make you feel like it's your fault. Abuse is never the fault of the person that is being victimized. It is never their fault. I don't care what you've done. It is never your fault.
And many victims stay silent because the abuse doesn't necessarily look like abuse, the non-physical abuse, that is. What are some of the early warning signs of coercive control or psychological manipulation that you wish more people recognized?
Those abuses start real subtle. For example, when you met this person, you were wearing makeup, you were thebomb.com, right? And then all of a sudden, why are you wearing all that makeup? Why are you dressing that way? That's the little chipping away at your self-esteem, chipping away at of who you are as a person. That's where it starts. Just the chipping away. Now it gets to, well, why are you going out with your friends all the time? You were going out with your friends when I met you. So why are you going out all the time? Why don't you around your family? You know they don't like you, right? I'm the only one that loves you, right? Why don't we move somewhere else? Isolation. Why don't we move somewhere else where we can start fresh? I moved into your place. Let's get our own place together. That way it'll feel like ours and it won't feel just like yours. And then you have those who find out that, find out that you want to leave, this relationship is not working. You get pregnant. Now I'm attached to you for 17 years, and that's the way I want it, so that I can just come by your place whenever I feel like it. I can use the child as manipulation to get you to do what I want to do until you get strong enough and decide that I love myself more than I love you. I'm going to take care of my child on my own. And then you start to set up boundaries that you didn't have before. Only when the boundaries are set up that the person who has to experience those boundaries have a problem with it. That's when you know that the manipulation was real. And every time you set up a boundary and someone says to you, whether it's your friend, your family, or a colleague, or your significant other, you've changed. You're not the same. Right. Because when someone says that, that means I can no longer manipulate you. Right. That's when you know that person has been doing that this whole time.
Now, we see throughout the documentary examples, so to speak, of the abuse. I'm not quite sure where it started, but you mentioned that there was a favorite dress that you had and all of a sudden it disappeared. And then your favorite jacket, he cut it up. And so you said to yourself, that was a point where you knew that you couldn't mention the joy that these type of things brought to you. Can you speak to how the emotional, the financial, and the psychological abuse, how each of those showed up in your own experience, including him destroying your own property?
Well, the financial showed up because I had to bring home a receipt to show how much money I spent. And if I was over a penny, then I would be verbally berated. Now, you have some people that yell and scream and all of these things. John didn't do that. He was very polite. He was so polite to sarcasm, was because we didn't yell at each other. So, I really want you to stick to what I told you to do, because if you do it again, you're going to get less money. Am I understood? That's how we would talk to me. And so the manipulation comes in where I know, example, we're having a conversation and I could see that he's angry, at least his face is displaying that he's angry. And I would ask him, what are you angry about? And he says, I'm angry. I said, yeah, your face shows that you're angry. He would hold that emotion in his face. He would go to the bathroom, and I went with him to the bathroom. He looked in the mirror and he changed his whole face. He said, okay, go back in the living room. He said, what was that question you asked me? I said, I was asking you, why were you angry? Is this the face of someone that's angry? Where are you getting that from? Why are you labeling me with being angry? I don't understand. It was like that. So little subtle things that people may not think is abuse, but it is. It's manipulation, it's emotional control, it's making you feel that crazy making is what they used to call it, to where you're doubting yourself now as to what he's doing. And he had training with psychological warfare in the military. So he knew what he was doing at all times.
Now, once he came back from being injured and he was diagnosed with PTSD,
Yes, ma'am.
you've been very open about that after everything that you've endured. How did it manifest for you, and what steps did you take towards healing? Because at one point in the documentary, you said that he told you to stop trying to get help for him because he wanted a promotion or something like that.
Correct. It would interfere with his promotion if he had anything negative on his record. So I stopped.
Mhm.
It's just the way he looked at me, and it was the way he said, I need you to stop. That time, they didn't have a lot of resources for it. That's why they told us when you get to the unit, information will be given to you, and it wasn't.
So you just had to figure it out. And
Figure it out. So I thought, well, let me go ask medical or priests to figure out what I can do to help him. So it got back to him. That's what I was doing. And he said, I need you to stop.
did you actively stop, or did you continue to seek resources and help for him afterwards without letting him know?
No, ma'am, I stopped. He said what he meant and he meant what he said. I didn't take anything for granted. He told me to stop, stopped.
Let's talk about your family and rebuilding. There was a time when you were living in fear and without your children. First off, I do want to ask before I assume that you were living in fear. Were you living in fear?
Absolutely.
What was that period like for you as a mother, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually?
When I didn't know where my children were.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most traumatic time in my life, to the point where I opened up my prayer rug and I started praying, and I say, Lord, I have to give back my children. I cannot move forward and I don't know where they are. And so I cried about 2 hours. I felt two presence in the room, and I felt like a blanket was being put on me to my neck. And at that point, I had a peace that surpasses all understanding. Then I locked in and went trying to find my children. I took paralegal courses in the shelter. I learned enough about the law to go to court to file for a divorce, which I got October 2000. I filed a writ of habeas corpus. That meant anywhere they found my children, they needed to pick them up and bring them back to me. Washington State had just passed a law stating that if you are a victim of domestic violence, you do not have to tell your abuser where you're going, and you will not be charged with kidnapping should you leave the state. The judge gave me a lifetime restraining order. I got all my paperwork notarized. My sister called me from Maryland and said, Mama's sick. Can you come and help to take care of her? So I came over here. I filed my restraining order under full faith and credit in Maryland, DC, because those were the two areas I would be in. And then I called the FBI because my children are missing. They're out of the country and it's a federal offense. So I asked them for their help. They said, how do you know your children are no longer in the country? I said, my cousin is a private investigator. He told me when the trail runs cold, that means the people you're looking for is no longer in the country. So gave him my paperwork. He mailed it back to me 2 weeks later and says, nothing. You need to call the FBI agent in Seattle, since this is an ongoing case and it originated there. I called the FBI agent in Seattle, told them what was going on. It's going to be a headshot. Got my children. I think he's out of the country. I need your help to find him. They said, well, Miss Muhammad, since we know he's looking for you, what we want to do is put you in the middle of a parking lot and use you as a decoy. This way, we can lure him out. I said, excuse me, it's going to be a headshot. You're not going to know which way the bullet came from. They said, we're just trying to help you out. Click. No, I'm not doing that.
I commend you for the strength, for the determination, for the endurance, for the persistence of continuing, the resilience of knowing that I'm going to go get my kids and I'm bringing them back.
No matter what. And so August the 30th, I got a phone call from the executive director at the shelter I was in. She said, Millie, I think we found your children. Millie is my safe name because I had to go into hiding. I need you to fax all your paperwork to Detective McCarthy in Bellingham, Washington. Followed up with a call. He said, Miss Muhammad, do you know where we are? I said, yeah, you're in Bellingham, Washington. He said, well, we're on the border of Canada. And if he gets across the border, that would be nothing we can do. I say, I appreciate that, but could you just please go get my children? The next day, August the 31st, 4:35 p.m., he called. He said, Miss Muhammad. I said, yes, sir. We got your children. What you talking about? He said, no, we got your children. I was screaming and running in and out of the house, and my brother-in-law came down and said, what's going on? I said, they found my children. You need to talk to them. First time I heard their voices in 18 months. My baby girl. Hey, mommy. How you doing? I say, I'm good, honey. Would you like to talk to my sister? I say, yeah, let me talk to your sister. Selena gets on the phone and she says, Mommy, guess what? I say, what, honey? I'm 9 years old. And you missed 2 birthdays. I said, oh, I promise I'm going to make it up to you. But my son didn't want to talk to me because he was angry. So I had to fly back to Tacoma for an emergency custody hearing. We get into court. John is there. I'm shaking. I am terrified. And the judge said, we're here today to decide who gets custody of the children. John said, Your Honor, she already knew where those children were. I don't even know why we're here. Say, we're here today to decide who gets custody of the children. And since she did her paperwork pro se, which meant I did it myself, and it is in perfect order, she will get custody of the children. He said, you telling me I'm going to be able to see my children again? He said, you have to go through the same process he went through. They gave him a document to sign. He signed his name and he threw the paperwork back to the court. Case dismissed. So we go out into the hallway. My attorney, my advocate, and my attorney is calling to find out where my children were. As she's calling, I feel a presence. Turn is John. I take off down the hallway. My attorney and my advocate looked at me. They looked at John, and they ran too. We all ran around the corner, looked back. He put his hand on the courtroom door, looked at me and said, my attorney said, oh, hell no. We getting out of here tonight. So we went down to the substation to tell the police what happened and could we go out that back door. They said, no, you can't go out the back door. You got to go out the front door just like everybody else. So then we walking in a triangle. Everybody got everybody's back. So we go over to social services. I see my son for the first time. He tall and skinny, trying to wear afro. He got that dome. He had his pants sagging. I know I should have said, honey, I'm so glad to see you, but I'm pulling up his pants. Is this going to be
Because, mama, pull the pants up. Because you always going to be mama, right? We always going to be mama.
Then I hear my daughters coming down the elevator. Mommy. They had a whole lot of people out there having lunch. I'm pretty sure they didn't know what was going on. I run over to them. My attorney say, look, the man trying to kill you, we need to leave. So
let's stay focused. Gotta get out of here. Okay.
So we get in the car, and my daughter say, Mommy, Daddy said he was trying to find you, and he couldn't find you. I said, really? I said, if Daddy wanted me to find you, why did he change your name? I couldn't find you. You changed your name. So we get to the YWCA. I call my mom. I say, Mom, I got him. And she was so, I'm so proud of you. Unfortunately, my mother passed away before she was able to see them, but she did talk to them that day. So we had to wait until it got dark. We had to go through the back door of the YWCA. Clothing closet around the pool to a red door. Opened the door, there was a car. Got in the car, drove us to CPAC, and we landed at BWI September the 6th, 2001. Until the shooting. I was still in hiding. I didn't go outside. Because he knew how to track.
Yeah.
The military.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you, what is your relationship with your children today, and how have you all continued to heal together as a family?
Well, as a family, we are completely healed. I couldn't find a counselor or therapist because unfortunately at the time everybody wanted to be famous. They wanted to talk about the DC Snipers children and myself. So I went to the library. I got a book on counseling and I learned how to counsel me and my children myself. I told them that we're going to only deal with the truth. You can ask me any questions you want about your dad. I will tell you the truth, the good, bad, and the ugly, even if it makes me look bad. But we're going to deal with this honestly. You cannot use your dad as an excuse for failure. That will not happen. And we will not be held accountable for his actions because
Yeah.
he knew what he was doing. And that's where we are. So my son is 35. He's married. His name is John. My daughter Selena, she's married. And Taliba, she is a songstress. She has her own, her stage name is Tolivia, Tolivia, and she's in the documentary as well. But we're all doing good. We really are. We
Wonderful.
have healed from it. We can talk about it. We can laugh about it. We are happy and we are blessed. So,
I love that. Now, you mentioned earlier in the interview that people sometimes use religion as a means to control, right? Are you still a part of the Islamic religion? And do you feel like he had you guys join the religion so that he can gain control of you?
well, actually, I joined first.
You joined first.
I joined first.
Okay.
For that reason you just said.
Okay.
He thought he could come in and this is one way that he can control me, but that's not the way. I always loved myself. I just needed to understand what he was trying to do, which is why it was a problem.
Yeah. Now, you have turned your pain into purpose, becoming a powerful advocate for domestic violence survivors around the world. What drives your advocacy work today?
So I spoke at the community college in Prince George's County, and Norma Harley was the one that asked me to come because she wanted to. She was one of the first advocates in Prince George's County. So she wanted to demonstrate that in religion, it is domestic abuse and violence. So she had a Christian woman and she had a Jewish woman. She said, I need a Muslim woman. I hadn't shared my story at that point. I said, girl, don't get no eggs at me. You know they still get me for this fight. You know, they said if I would have stayed with him, he just would have killed me. If I would have stayed on the West Coast, the people on the East Coast would still be alive. How dare I call me and my children victims when none of us were hurt or killed? And how dare I bring this drama in this quiet community?
Yeah.
She's 4 feet 11. She said, girl, I got you. I said, 4 feet, I'm 5'4". How you? Okay. So we
Right.
get to the venue. The first thing I do and still do, check where the exits. I need to know where I need to go. I looked it up online. I say, there's a door behind the podium. Can I come in through that door? No, that door's locked and it stays locked. I said, ooh, stadium seating. We at the bottom. Ooh, got it. They're going to throw eggs and tomatoes. She said, Mildred, come on. I said, all right, I'm just telling you. They blame me. I'm the reason they blame me.
Yeah.
So we get through the event and it was great. And this elderly Black woman called me over. And you know those crutches where they lock onto your
Uh-huh.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that you help stand up. Uh-huh.
Well, that's what she was on. And she said, I'm just so proud of you. I say, thank you. I'm just so proud of you. She said, but you promised me you're gonna keep speaking for the us. I said, who is the us? She said, those of us who don't have physical scars. You gotta promise me you're gonna keep doing that. Can you promise me that? I said, yes, ma'am. Somebody tapped me on my shoulder. I turned around to greet that person, and when I turned back, she was gone. I ran all over that place looking for her. I said, all right, Lord, I guess you gave me my mission. So this is what I'm gonna do. And that's why I still do it, because I made a promise.
I love it.
Continue to speak for the us, the 80% of us who do not have physical scars,
Yeah.
to prove that they're being.
Yeah. Now, parting message for women and men currently in silent suffering, and to the same effect of your promise for advocating for those without the physical scars. What words of encouragement or practical advice do you offer them to begin reclaiming their safety and their power?
So whatever the abuse, whether it's physical or not, it is not your fault. There is nothing that you have done that has caused this person to control your every movement, everything that you think or say. trying to take over your life or destiny spot, what they did not create. So if you're trying to leave an abusive relationship, the first thing I need you to do is go and get a bank account at a credit union or a different bank than where you bank at together. Number two, I need you to go get a new cell phone, a track phone, a burner phone, because you're going to have to go no contact. And you want to make sure that that happens. Number three, I need you to gather all of your important documents, credit cards, IDs, passports, birth certificates, whatever that is, bank statements, whatever that is that you need to start your life over somewhere else successfully. That's what you need to gather together.
Mm-hmm.
Four, if you're working, you take one outfit a day or every other day where it does not cause suspicion to your office. Do not leave it in your trunk. It has to be with office or one trusted friend. You know that friend when you call them and they say, "What we doing?"
That's right. Right.
That's the one you call. You take your things over there, and then you start to develop your plan of. I have a new book that's coming. I'm Still Standing. That's associated with this documentary. In the back of that book is a safety plan. It's 8 steps. The number 8 means transformation. So you're transforming from a victim to a survivor because you're taking your safety into your own hands. Step 8, have all the things you need to take with you. Make sure you have all your phone numbers. Who's that trusted friend? How are you going to move out? And then silence, moving silence, the element of surprise are the 3 best tools you have. Do not put this on social media. Do not tell more than one person. Do not bring other people in to let them know what you are doing, because all of that will be in vain if your abuser finds out that that's what you're trying to do. And anyway, you cannot record what the other person is doing without their permission, because now in some states it's against the law. So you can go to jail. So I need you to check the laws in your state to see if you can have that information to use as evidence later on, right? So now you have all this straight. Once you decide to leave, leave. Now that person's gonna go all over the world trying to find you. But remember, you only told one trusted friend. Now imagine if you told more than one person.
Right.
Can't do that. And sometimes the family love the abuser more than you. So you gotta be careful. Make sure it's not a family member that person likes. So
Doctor.
And if you are the person that knows someone that's a victim of domestic violence and you say, you know what, I need to help my friend, family, a colleague, right? What can I do? If you have a significant other, talk it over with them, but this is what you're going to talk about. What you will do, what you won't do, and what you cannot do. Because you need to get your boundaries in check when you talk about approaching somebody to offer them help.
Right.
So can I borrow $1,000 to get an apartment? Can I come and stay with you? Will you provide security for me and my children? Do you want this drama around your family? Are you in a position to where you can say, come and stay with me till you get on your feet? Do you sure you want to do that?
Right.
So you got your boundaries in check. Significant other, no. Let's go. Take this person to lunch, not dinner. Dinner time is checked. You don't want to feel guilty because you kept them out too late, and now you know in an abusive relationship. So you know when you drop them off or whatever, they're going to be in trouble. You don't want to feel guilty for that. Take them to lunch. Everybody's everywhere for lunch. 30-minute lunch, hour lunch.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Now
I know you know I'm in an abusive relationship.
Right.
So we're going to do the surface talk and all of that. Don't ask me what's going on. You already know. Don't ask me, so what's up? You already know. One question. How can I help? Now I may look at you strange because nobody asks a victim, how can I help you? Because we're too busy telling you what to do, sounding like the abuser.
Right.
Now I may sit back and say, where do you get that from? How are you asking me that?
Right.
Why are you asking me that all of a sudden? Hey, I want to help.
Right.
Don't offer suggestions. You know, you do this, you can do that. Don't do that, because if it would have been ducking too. So don't do that. Don't give me medicine you wouldn't take yourself.
Right.
Right? Just wait. Hear what they have to say. If I just don't know. You know what? When you do know, we will meet up. Do not text, do not email, call,
Yeah.
because they on the same line. So
Yeah.
once they tell you, because you got your boundaries in check, you know you can't do that. That's okay.
Yeah.
Don't be the hero in somebody else's story.
Mhm.
It's okay. At
Mhm.
least give them the domestic violence hotline number, 800-799-7233. Don't leave them crying. At least do that. And then you've done all that you can do, and be happy that you did that.
Dr. Mildred Muhammad, your story is incredible. And how you transform that pain into power is simply a reminder that survival is not the end of the story, but the beginning of healing. Thank you so much for coming on to share your story and to give people hope and resources and all of those things to help them maybe get out of a situation as well. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time. And this story, Hunted by My Husband, is going to air when?
Tuesday
Tuesday.
from 9 to 11 Eastern Standard Time.
We appreciate you. Thank you so
On
much.
Investigation Discovery ID or
Mhm.
streaming on HBO Max.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care. Bye bye.